to the world above. Chapter 1. Don't forget to sell Snowflake while you're at it, Jack. You shouldn't accept anything under 50 gold pieces. My nagging mother tells me as I walk off to the market. All right, I say. Slowly I stomp off with Snowflake, our pure white cow, by my side. There is not a chance in Effa that I can sell her for even 10 gold pieces. Her days of milking are long gone. She just can't do it anymore. The only thing she can be sold for now is meat. I sigh while kicking a pebble off the path so many have traveled along on their finely kept horses and carts. Perhaps one day I'll be able to have a horse of my own. And on it, a saddle embedded with sparkling jewels. Then maybe, I won't be condemned to a life on a grubby little farm. A foolish wish, I mutter to myself. Just as foolish as trying to win a jousting match using Snowflake. Finally, I make it to the market and desperately try to sell Snowflake, but no one is interested in a skinny cow for my mother's price. At noon, I slice my mother's price by half. Odds are she'll be more furious at me for not selling the cow than selling it below 50 pieces. Still, no one wants Snowflake. I suppose I can always visit the butcher and see what his thoughts are. At least he'll think about taking Snowflake off my hands. I enter his shop and show the butcher my slim and sickly friend, talking her up to be the best meat money could buy. It doesn't work. I'm sorry, Jackie, but she isn't worth that much to me. She looks like she's got no meat on her. But I did hear some crazy man was looking for a white cow. Doubt he has any gold, but you could always try, the butcher tells me. My head sinks as I find my way out of the shop, taking Snowflake with me. Thanks. As soon as I walk out, a cart rushes past and throws wet soil at me. I tisk as I kick the mud off my pants. Typical. With Snowflake I set off to search for this crazy man, going from one shop to the next. He better have something worth my time, but even if he doesn't, I'll at least be able to get rid of Snowflake. Halfway through the town, a voice comes out of an alley. Hey boy, is that a pure white cow? I look into the darkness and say, It is, why? A man bounds out of the darkness with a yippee. I can only assume this is the man the butcher was referring to. He has a strange sense to him, almost like magic. He circles Snowflake carefully, flicking some of the mud off of her. He grins and looks up at me. Perfect. You don't know how long I've been searching for a cow like this. She should finish off my potion. I step back a little. You're a wizard? Indeed, but it's not illegal to be one here. My name is Jackson, what's yours? Jack. He grins wider and shakes my hand. Something in common. I like you. So, how much for the cow? 50 gold coins? Jackson's face strains. 50 gold coins. I sigh. I didn't think so. What do you got then? Jackson licks his top lip as he reaches down inside his pockets. He pulls out 2 beans and 5 gold coins. Grudgingly I take the coins, leaving the beans, but Jackson plants them in my hands. Take the beans too, they are more valuable than they appear. They're magic. They can grow extraordinarily fast and take you to amazing heights. Just don't eat them, that would be messy. Then I definitely don't want them, I say, trying to hand them back. If my mom found out I got any kind of magic, she'd kill me. Jackson didn't listen to me as he headed off with Snowflake. Can't talk long, I have to tell Topsy the good news. After that, Jackson vanishes in the alley, and I wonder if he used a potion to teleport somewhere. My heart is heavy as I put the beans and coins in my pocket. I seriously doubt the beans are genuinely magic. I know one thing though, that Jackson guy needs to get his head checked. Then I wonder if perhaps the beans are magic. But what would I do with a fast-growing beanstalk? He already told me I can't eat the beans, so I doubt the beanstalk would provide food either. A spark goes off in my mind. If it could reach tall heights, then maybe it could climb Lord Ellery's manor walls. I could get gold and food that way. I shake my head and set the matter aside. Thievery is for desperate occasions, and stealing from the village's lord is a death sentence. Of course, my mom would kill me first if she ever found out about the magical beans. When I reach home, my mom rushes to me. How much you got? Only 5. I say, taking the coins out of my pocket. She slaps the back of my head. I said 50, not 5. I know what you said. It ain't my fault no one wanted to buy her. The butcher wouldn't even take her. I say, tempted to hit her back, but I restrained myself. She is my mom after all, and I love her. Just go to bed, Jack. Your meal is up in your room. Don't ask for any more than that, because it's all we got. I stomp my way to my room and crash onto the broken bed with hay popping out of the fabric. My eyes stare at a spider web that has been there for weeks, covering a tiny hole in the ceiling. Indeed, I am destined to be a farm boy all my life. If it isn't that, then a homeless man. Slowly, I take the beans out of my pocket as I sit up and eat the apple and cornbread my mother prepared for me. I study the beans, tracing my thumb along them. They certainly aren't regular beans, seeing as they appear to have a strange sea-green color and a slight shimmer. My head goes back to my pillow as I ponder the same thing I did before. Perhaps these beans could help me get some food, a bit of coins, and perhaps even seeds for next year's harvest. I can easily get all of those from the manor. And with these, scaling the walls will be easy. What a stupid idea, Jack! Just as stupid as selling a cow for beans. I tell myself, shutting my eyes. I won't do it. About an hour later, my eyes flash open when I hear a stomach growl. It's completely dark out, and I hear owls hoot while I listen intently. The growl happens again. It originates from where my mother sleeps below me. My heart sinks. She didn't eat dinner again. I open my hand to see the shining beans. I try to reason with myself that it is stupid. It doesn't work as I stand up and pull my dad's old cloak on while heading out of the house in a hurry. Before I know it, I am in the marketplace. It is quiet like it should be at night, with the shops locked up and the stalls empty. I keep running until I make it to the manor gates. I easily slip through the bars and head to the high walls of the building. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't attempted this before. Quite frankly, I knew the manor's layout well. My father had been a part of the manor's construction team years ago when I was about 8. I worked as a water boy then. We were excited to be getting a new lord, and we had thought the state of his manor would soon reflect improvements in our lives too. How wrong we were. Our village didn't change in the slightest. I stare at the thick stones, then look down at the beans. I place one in my pocket, then place the other down in the dirt. Nothing happens, so I go to the closest well and fill a bucket with water. Then I take the bucket to where I buried the bean and gently pour the water on the soil. 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I lose my patience and am about to leave when suddenly a large pumpkin-sized sprout pops up out of the soil. I stand back and watch as it grows taller and taller. Then I quickly grab a hold of it and let it carry me. The stalk stops growing when it climbs to the top of the manor. Meanwhile, I am left right by a cracked window leading into a food storage room. I grin at my luck. Carefully, I open the window so I can crawl in. Once I am inside, I gaze at the dry ingredients. Before long, I'm stuffing my pockets full of seasonings and tossing bags of seeds out the window. I didn't spot any gold coins, but it didn't matter since the grains would feed us and could be sold later on. As I reach for a potato, my knee knocks a bag off the shelf and strawberry seeds scatter across the floor. I grimace, hoping no one heard. My luck goes south as I turn around to find a tall maid hovering over me, blocking the window. Her eyes are a piercing green and her hair is golden and long. I stumble backward, wondering how she got there. "Now just what do you think you're doing?" she asks, crossing her arms. I gulp. "Stealin'," I say honestly. Surprisingly, she backs off and stares at the beanstalk outside. Interesting way to get in. I glance out of the window. "Yeah, I guess this hasn't happened before, right? You'd be surprised, but a beanstalk is a first." She pauses. "Now tell me, where'd you get something like that? I'll only tell if you let me go." She smirks. "You know how to play this, don't you? Well, all right, I'll speak nothing of it. If they ask, I'll say it was rats. I got it from a man, a wizard. He made 'em. Does he have any more? She asked curiously. I don't think so, but I got another. Why so interested? The maid smiles. It could make me rich, but not the way you're doing it. No, there's a much better way. If you want, I could tell you, but of course, you would have to let me use whatever you have left. How rich we talkin'? I question her, not fully trusting her sly eyes. It depends on what we find. There could be many outcomes. Besides, kid, what else are you going to do with those beans? You've already stolen from your lord. Fine, I say. What's the story? The maid sits herself down on a barrel so she doesn't have to keep arching her neck downwards to look at me. There's a rumor that if you go high enough, there's another world in the clouds. And in that world are fine jewels and treasure. However, even if we don't find treasure, we could get rich from making the discovery. I walk to the window, ready to leave. This maid is a loony bin. I have never heard such talk about islands in the clouds. Sure, there's a rumor about Peter Pan who takes people to a place in the stars where you never grow up, but that started nearly 10 years ago by the whack job centaurs. Everyone knows that centaurs are wild, cursed beings that have no home. All their stories are tall tales. Sorry, but I don't believe in that kind of stuff. Besides, I don't think the bean would grow high enough, I say, making excuses. The maid slams the window shut and whispers to me. That isn't a problem for me. She picks up a seed from off the floor. And in her hand, it blooms until it's a perfect strawberry. I blink. You're a witch. The maid nods as she hands me the strawberry. You have nothing to lose, kid. She holds out her hand. Do we have a deal? I look from her slender face to her hand. I've already traded with a wizard and stole from a lord. Whatever I do now, it won't matter because my mother would be pissed off anyway. We make the deal. The maid gives me a pleasant smile as she opens the window. Tomorrow at this time, meet me at the manor gates. I shall protect your identity as promised. I leap over to the beanstalk and realize it would be hard to cover up. What about this sore thumb? She reaches her hand out of the window. The beanstalk snakes down to the ground, getting smaller and smaller. Soon my feet land and the beanstalk shrinks until it's a normal size. Nothing is out of place now. From below, I nod to the maid as I gather the items I dropped to the ground beforehand. From there, I head home. I hide the bags of seeds because my mother doesn't need to know the story about the magic beans or the thievery. Plus, I can secretly plant the seeds when she isn't looking. As for this new adventure I'm getting myself into, I'll have to think of something good to explain to my mom how I got whatever I might find in the clouds. Like the beans being magic, I doubt that there is such a place that floats above us. There is no Peter Pan. Then again, mermaids used to be a myth, and now one rules as Queen of Derwin.